Thanks, Retro Gamer. Thanks. You know, to be sure, I hope that by being as real as I can with people and providing that sort of a space that people will, you know, in turn like that and want to support that. I do this full time. This is like this is how I make a living. But and people do. And the next part of that sentence is, and you do. And I really appreciate that. So it's a two-way street, you know. I appreciate the support, and I want to give people my best for that. It's really that simple. I'm not here to say how streaming should be and all this and that. I just know that personally I've taken a lot of inspiration from someone like Bill Watterson. I've said this a lot before, I'll say it again. Bill Watterson, the creator of Calvin and Hobbes, who talked about what a privilege it really is to be able to speak to people on a daily basis. Him with his comics, but it's not so far off to be a streamer and have that same sort of thing. So it really is, and I hope that I can respect that as best I can. It is an honor to be able to talk to people and to be taken seriously by people, especially as an artist. That's a tricky thing to get in the first place. Oh, Ballistic, hey, yeah, I don't know if it's the same pizza place we're thinking of, but I do know a person who has a, got a pizza place tattooed on their leg, so that they get free pizza. I think that there's like a famous place that did that, and I don't think it's that place. I think the place is called Disco Pizza, and it's kind of funny because the logo actually, it like looks okay. It's just a little disco dancing guy with a pizza. It doesn't even say the name of it. It just is like a disco guy with a pizza. So it's like, it works out of context. It's just like a good tattoo image. But the deal was that they would give you free pizza every time you came in if you got the tattoo. My buddy definitely got it. He said it paid for itself after a while because he always, you know, would go to festivals or whatever in that area. So, like, honestly, it kind of, for the right person, it's honestly, like, not a bad deal. A one-tile gap? I'm not going to survive in a one-tile gap. I'm not going to survive that jump. That's not a jump you survive. And I don't think the bullets are spin jump kill. They are definitely not. Yo, I dig that. I have always played music and played in bands. I have never had any professional aspirations for it. I've never wanted to have any particular, I mean, yeah, you know, you can make some money on your music, like, that's cool, hell yeah. But, yeah, to you know, there was a time when I thought, oh, you know, we'll be in a band for a living or whatever. And I think if you really want to make money as a band or a musician, you have to tour. You have to tour a lot because you're pulling a lot of stuff down from live shows, live appearances, especially with streaming and everything. You know, predatory as it is, you're pulling down a lot more from live performances, live merch sales, that kind of thing. I know some friends who have gone off and been really successful in bands and being musicians and stuff. They, in particular, they really like to travel. And for them, music is kind of just a way to do that. You know, like they don't mind. They enjoy that road life. I like it too, but not enough to want to do that for a living. So I think that definitely comes into play. If you want to have professional aspirations, you need to tour and you need to go and play places where people are going to see you. You know, the exposure, blah, blah, blah. Exposure is one thing. But at the same time, yeah, you definitely want to be getting yourself into places where you will get that exposure. You know, paid in exposure is the meme. But exposure is some form of valuable coin. You know, paying with it is kind of sucky, but it is valuable to have in some cases. I'm looking up the clear video. I do not know what to do here. I do not know. I can't tell what to do, and I'm gonna look it up. All right, yeah, that was way simpler. Also, what's up, Pat? Okay. I don't. You know what? I've even done that trick before, and it just didn't even occur to me. There we go. Okay, that's actually fine. It's actually completely fine. Do I like or play any metal music? Yeah, I like metal. There's a lot of metal bands in the area, and there were a lot of my friends are in metal bands. Yeah, I would say on the spectrum of metal and punk rock, I'm decidedly punk rock in my tastes. But yeah, I can get down with some metal. I'm not very good at the techniques in metal guitar playing. When I try to play heavy stuff, it winds up more like Lightning Bolt. If you want, like, I like Lightning Bolt. I am a huge, big Lightning Bolt fan. Really enjoy them. If you want, like, what is my taste in stuff like, I really like Lightning Bolt. Not the only band, but that's a really great, like, intro to what I like. Would I consider Lightning Bolt metal? I would consider them noise rock, noise metal. What's the difference? You know, tomato kind of thing. You know, metal notoriously has a bajillion buttload of subgenres, and far be it from me to question that. I'm not a metal fan in that way, so it's cool. But yeah, like, I like what I like. Honestly, I like metal the more it strays away from just the freaking Cookie Monster. Roar, 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 roar. The less they do that, the more I'm probably going to dig it. But even some stuff that does that is good. Yeah, I get down with some metal. I got to see Rings of Saturn. They were good. I saw them live. Play drums. That's awesome. Keep going. Don't stop. Just play for yourself, and you'll always have an audience. Yeah, Womberchammy doing the royalty-free thing. I dig that. I've really only ever wanted to just make music. That's all I ever really, when I was younger, I was shy and awkward, and music really helped me out. Rock and roll, punk rock music, and that kind of thing just saved my damn soul, man. I honestly, like, I think that, like, and it's not like a debt that I owe to rock and roll or anything, like, weird like that, but I definitely helped turn me into the kind of person I am today, and saved me from a lot of stuff that I don't know where I'd be without that. And all I ever really wanted out of being a musician was just to participate in that whole thing. I got excited by this kind of sound, and so I want to make this kind of sound. And then that became exciting, and so now it's just an artistic outlet, and things I explore and projects I work on. But all I ever wanted to do was just participate in that noise, right? Just be a part of that liberating, wonderful noise. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, where it just grabs you and just takes you away. Like, I remember so often as a kid just playing guitar in my room and just turning it up the whole way and just, like, play badly, but so passionately. That one chord over and over again. It was at Zappa. The same old chords going over and over became a symphony. Like, play it again and again and again because it sounded good to me, right? Like, I got a lot out of that. And so I never, I'm going to be a professional musician was just kind of like me just being a kid and thinking, well, I love this and I want to do this and I don't want to work for some dick, But ultimately, I don't think I wouldn't want that. Gaming is the thing that I'm okay turning into a kind of a job where, even though sometimes I don't always love it, I can still do it. But I wouldn't want to have that happen to music. Music was my, like, saved me. And I still love Kaizo and Mario and streaming and stuff, even after all I've been through with it. And there definitely are nights where I'm like, God damn, you know? And I'm still here for it. I can still do that. I don't want to have to go through that with music. I don't ever want to not enjoy it or feel like I have to do it ever. Like, what I've tolerated as far as Kaizo, I would never tolerate as far as music. Up to 12 instruments. That's pretty cool. No, yeah, I think I know what I'm actually doing. That's what I thought was going to happen. If I hung out long enough, something would fall, or whatever. But what I actually do is get pushed through the barrier by the extendo block. Yeah, I just wait. Yeah, I just wait a cycle, and then I get pushed through by the extendo because nothing showed up, and I'm like, oh crap, that's not what you do. The best way to put your hair up, for anyone that cares, is Rave Mega Hold number 5. I don't know if they sell it anymore. The rock and rollers in chat will know what I'm talking about. Rave Mega Hold number 5 is cheap and it's effective. The way to do it is you have to like flash freeze it if you're gonna like actually get that lift that you want. That like super high like punk rock lift. You have to like first you have to kind of train it to do that. So you have to just like do it poorly for a while or like iron it so it's all flat. And then you like it's like a 2-person operation. One person kind of like pulls your hair and like holds it up and you like kind of yank it and like get it to spike up. And then you hit it with a little bit of the hairspray and then get it like real soaking, like put a lot on there and then hit it with the hair dryer like immediately, like while it's like wet and like sitting on your head. And that's it. And that kind of flash freezes it in place after a while. You like do that, let it dry, and then put on like multiple layers of that. And eventually you'll get the spike that you're after. And if you really do it, it'll stay that way like permanently. You can get it to the point where it just like won't go down. Pun intended, at its peak, when I had my mohawk, it would like not go down anymore. It would just stay. It was just like kind of frozen in that way. But you have to do that like all the time. Yo, Digital Andrew, what's up? The Crossbox at high school used egg whites. Ouch. That's just another. I'm not putting food in my hair. I'm not putting food. I'm not walking around with food products in my hair. That's just like. It just seems like a great way to get ants. Let's go. Get some ants. Got to be glued. I'm aware of that. That's a gel, and that's just going to add weight. If you really want that big, giant, like those huge fan mohawks, that Liberty Spike, you put the gel in there, it's just going to add a buttload of weight. And then even if you do get it to stand up, you're just going to have like a big clump of weight in your, you know what I mean? You just have like a clump of product in your hair. Hairspray is light and efficient. That's the thing. You want to like get it up and you want to freeze it without adding a lot of weight to the top to hold it down. But dye your hair, apply hot iron to head, yes. Dye your hair the rock and roll way by putting a bunch of bleach, right? You got to bleach out, especially for my hair because it's like kind of dark. So I really had to bleach it to get it out. So you just like slather all this bleach on and then just like wrap your head up in tinfoil. And it was like every time we would have like hair dyeing day at the old house, we would like just be a couple of us with like sitting out in the freaking hot blazing sun with our heads wrapped in tinfoil like a baked potato. Just like drink a hot beer in the sun and sit there with your head in tinfoil. It's classic rite of passage. Yeah, we live here a sec. Ugh. Manic Panic is good for dye. I don't know if they still even make Manic Panic anymore. I don't even know if they make Rave Rangahold number 5. It was a lovely day. Back at our old punk house, we had like a frog pond and a whole little gazebo out back. We had our own little fenced-in yard. It was awesome. We were just sitting in the sun, drinking Hurricane 40s with our head in a potato. It's great. It's wonderful. You got to burn that in, man. I should take some new ones. I'm out of the game. It takes my hair is. If I wanted to spike my hair right now, it would be like this goddamn high. Like that would honestly, I would need to like lay on my side and like do that like flat. They get those really high fan mohawks by like you lay on your side and then you just like someone else irons it and you like just kind of lay there and you do it sideways and then you like stand up because it's like you can't. If I were to hold my hair up, I can like barely reach like up to where it is. I'm just kind of out of the game. I'm more honestly, I'm more of a nerd than a punk rocker. You know what I mean? Like punk rock changed my life and it helped me out a lot, but I'm not like, it sucks that there has to be rules, but there are certain things that like punk rock and roll is all about, and like I take that spirit, but I'm more of a nerd, you know? Like that's what I am. It can be done. I just don't feel like putting the time in. That's the thing. You dress up all silly and you put the time in, it shows you're not lazy. It shows you put time into this. You know, you sort of like, some people go for this like haggard kind of thing, and like I've always felt the way to do it is like you're wearing a costume. Like you're wearing your clothes. That's your thing. But like you put time into it. I don't know. You put time in your vest. You put time sewing your patches on. You put time dyeing your hair. You know. Oh, I sure I know you get it. I'm not trying to lecture or anything. I'm just talking about it. Like that's the point of that all. You know. It like I dressed up like this. I took time to dress up like this on purpose, just to make you weirded out. You know, I put effort into this weird look. There's something about that kind of high effort. It's almost like a high effort shitpost in a way, you know. Oh, I've been there, Digital Andrew. Absolutely. Yep. Or going to the barber shop and all your gear to get your hair trimmed. Oh yeah. Oh man, that works out so much better. Oh wow, everything works out. Ah! Except for me. Angels in the outfield might have had intangible baseballs, but Rookie of the Year had that kid, that doctor that goes, funky butt loving. Did he just say funky butt loving? You know, it's weird because I've seen Angels in the outfield like many times, and I don't remember a goddamn thing about it. There's some Angels, there's an outfield. Some guy goes, if you build it, they will come. Like, no, that's not. That's Field of Dreams. That's not even that.